In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one, the only Cash Kraus.
I'm here.
You are here.
And it's a special day.
Yes, it is.
Because we are ending our run.
We are ending our indie run.
Our indie run, you're right.
Yes.
We are finishing up the Indiana Jones saga. And like all good things, it must come to an end.
And it might not end on that high note that you were expecting, but it does end nonetheless.
It ends like the Titanic ended.
Oh, wow.
In a fiery bloodbath wreck. Yeah, absolutely. I equate it to like climbing Mount Everest and then getting to the top and just finding out that people have been leaving trash on top of the mountain for the last 80 years.
Wow,
and this
you were
place
going hard
just
in
fucking
the paint
sucks.
on Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
And you had so much fun climbing up there. You just had the best time. So beautiful. Everything, you started out strong.
Yeah.
Couldn't be stronger. Started out with the arc. And you get going. Then it gets a little dark, gets a little moody, gets a little scary, a little Temple of Doom. Things aren't looking good.
Right.
It's not looking great. Well, what could happen? Then the whole journey is salvaged by the Last Crusade.
Very well, maybe a masterpiece.
It might be. It might be.
Storyline and everything.
And you're thinking,
perfect.
oh God, where could they go? Where could they go?
How about aliens?
How about the most overuse of CGI you've ever seen
and
in
just
a film.
like lazy CGI.
And things for like, why do you have to CGI that?
Right. Like, could
why
you
do you have to CGI the cars? I mean, look, why do you have to CGI so much? And so today we are discussing
Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the fourth Indiana Jones film.
Yes. Originally titled Indiana Jones and the Saucermen. That was the original title, which is a true story from George Lucas.
Gosh.
And so it's the Enforce. And what sucks is I wanted to bring in, I totally forgot about this. I have a still in the plastic original box set of the original trilogy.
Whoa.
Still wrapped up.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, VHS.
VHS?
Yes.
Oh,
VHS
geez.
of the original
It's a big throwback.
Indiana Jones. And I wanted to bring it in and show it. And I forgot it on my desk.
On the last one. Now we're going to have to wait for Indiana Jones 5 to come out, review that on this podcast, and then you can bring that.
Well, really, I
famous
should have
VHS
brought
trilogy.
it. I should have brought it for the last one, for not Kingdom, but Last Crusade. And showed the box set. 'Cause someday,
that's going to be worth some money.
well, someday I'm gonna get fucking Harrison Ford to sign that thing, and I got a feeling
time's
I
ticking.
don't have much time.
No, not the way the guy flies planes.
This is yeah.
Could be a problem.
Yeah, my best chances are to get him coming down on one of those rough plane landings, and I just meet him out in a field
Just perfect
or a
timing.
golf course somewhere. I mean, Mr. Jones, because I only call him Indiana Jones.
No, that's what you have to do.
Out of respect.
Yeah, respect.
And I run up to him, Mr. Jones, and I give him the box, and he's all fucking mangled. He's a wreck.
And you can't understand him.
Oh, he's got blood spraying out his mouth. His legs aren't working anymore.
No, they're not.
He's 88 years old. He's dying. But the last thing he does is sign my box set and just trail off dead.
Just the last little part. Ford is like,
and then his fuselage just bursts into flames, and it goes out like that.
Gosh.
So that sucks. I wanted to bring it in, but I was already mad knowing
I'd
that.
say maybe next time, but there's not going to be a next time.
I know. There will be. Yeah. There will be once we do the fifth one, which we'll talk about later.
Yes, we will.
But if you couldn't tell already, I do not...
Based on these glowing reviews
I
that
don't
you had
have
for this film?
fondness for this film.
No.
I mean, it's...
I did not. I thought there were some elements of it that reminded me of old school Indiana Jones, but majority of this film, I mean, one of the biggest gripes that I have is what we have just briefly touched on, but the overuse of CGI. It is egregiously bad in this film.
Yeah.
Like, I just could not believe, and then like not even good CGI. I mean, there's no excuse for it. Avatar was made in 2009. This was made in 2008.
Well, yeah. Well, fucking
That's a year.
Dark Knight came out in 2008, the
Exactly.
same year as this.
Yeah.
So like, there's no, yeah. Well, my biggest complaint, because I went into this the biggest Indiana Jones fan. I went and saw this film in the theaters with my dad, who me and my dad both share a huge love for Indiana Jones.
Right.
And even, I mean, that was 12 years ago. So I was 14 at the time when I went and saw it. And even then I was like, oh my God, that just did not feel like an Indiana Jones film.
I didn't like it either at 14, and I could not. I never disliked a film at 14 years old. I was like, oh yeah, that was fun. But even
You're just
I
happy to
was
be out of the
disappointed.
house.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't let you out much.
No, they didn't. No, it's a wonder I can even talk.
But exactly, and and it's a fine action movie, but it's a horrible Indiana Jones movie. And my complaints aren't the complaints that everyone has. I don't mind Shia LaBeouf. I actually like his Mutt Williams. I like that character.
Yeah.
I like the spin of having Indiana Jones be this kind of goofy greaseball character. It plays perfect contrast to his kind of old school 1930s. Yeah. And it gives you that perfect taste of the 50s with that character. I really like that. But
and we got back Karen Allen too.
Got back Karen Allen.
And I liked all that.
On paper,
I liked all that,
this
honestly.
fucking film, Kate Blanchett, Karen Allen returns. It's got so Shia LaBeouf, Ray Winston, Steven Spielberg, George Lucas, everyone returning. John Williams doing the score. This film had
all the
everything
pieces.
going for it, and it just execution.
Yep.
And there's so much going on in this film too. It's fucking confusing. There's so many things thrown out, and so many things are good ideas if they just went with that one idea.
Right.
But they're throwing in so many ideas that's like, oh my God.
Well, and then
Is it an adventure movie? Is it a sci-fi movie?
right, KGB, mind control. You know, they kind of threw that in there. Then they threw in the Rothwell stuff with the outer space, and then
Which all would have been fine. I would have been fine.
It was just the execution of it and putting it all in a cohesive story that was. It was kind of just everywhere, in my opinion.
And it didn't.
And the character of Mac, I just was not.
Oh my God.
I get the stereotypical, like, that's Indiana Jones always has this one friend who might, kind of be an asshole and double cross you. But it was just so, like, done so many times where it was like, oh, you're a triple agent now. And it's like, no, I was just the same guy. You're just an idiot.
Well, that's the thing is that by the end, it makes Indiana Jones look bad, which in it's never happened in the. I mean, he's always looked like a goober because he's never thinks about anything.
But he gets lucky in like the most convenient ways.
And he was never stupid. No one would ever say he was stupid. He's very intelligent. So for him this guy crosses him, Mac, at the very start. Ray Winston, who's a fantastic actor in fucking
actor.
Departed. Frenchie.
Yes, Frenchie.
In Departed, he's fucking great, dude. He's so good. And again, and Kate Blanchett, Kate Blanchett is top 10 best current actresses. She's fucking
absolutely
amazing.
She was in Thor recently too.
Yeah, and killed it.
Killed it. I loved her role in that.
And she's great, but man, it's just it's too much. It's just too crazy. And like you said, the whole triple agent thing, it makes Indiana Jones look stupid, look dumb. Yeah. After this guy that crossed you immediately right at the start, and you're still having this guy tag along with you.
Right.
Like, tie him to a tree. Yeah, I mean, just be like, all right, I mean, I'm not going to kill you, but I can't be with you.
I mean, don't make it dark. We don't have to execute the guy on the spot. But I mean, don't have him
time up and
you.
come back and untie him. And you're like, we just couldn't have you out there. It was too big of a risk. But
I felt like they needed something.
Lazy, I thought.
Yeah, exactly. They just needed some sort of character to move along the plot the whole time to make sure that the KGB could follow them. But you're right. It was lazy, in my opinion, too. It didn't work. It was so unbelievable for who Indiana Jones was, and is. I didn't buy it, and I didn't like it.
And another part to go back to that it didn't feel like an Indiana Jones film is this film feels like it was, for the majority, shot on a set. It doesn't feel like
behind a giant green screen.
Yeah, it's
every
fucking
shot went unnecessarily.
And it's weird. I didn't realize it when I was 14, obviously, but it's something off-putting. It's like the coloring is off because they're shooting on a set, so it's like the lighting is too much. It's making everything look really saturated and very weird. The whole warehouse scene is it's CGI. Why CGI a warehouse?
A warehouse? You could have gotten a warehouse somewhere.
But that's the thing. Is it in every Indiana Jones film? It's globetrotting, and you feel like you're there because they are there.
Yes.
But this entire I don't have a problem with Harrison Ford being old. I don't have a problem. That was a huge thing with a lot of people, and I don't have a problem with it because they make jokes about it, and they make it seem like he's not the same person anymore.
But it was believable still.
Exactly.
Like I thought, even with the fight choreography, yeah, it was fun and silly, a little bit. But at no points was I like, oh my God, this is so stupid. This is over the top. It was just enough with the fight choreography where it was believable and fun for being an Indiana Jones.
And they poke fun at it, but I don't have a problem with Harrison Ford wanting to keep doing these roles, but I do have a problem with him wanting to do the role and not doing it the same way he's always done it. So he wants to do these roles, but I feel like he wants to shoot them on a set instead of location. So if you're going to be Indiana Jones, part of being Indiana Jones is knowing that you're going to be going all over the world to shoot these scenes. But no, I feel like because he's older now, they can't have him going around everywhere, so they have to do it majority on a set, and it looks bad. It doesn't even look good.
No,
like compared to
when I said it was egregious.
2008 films.
Yeah,
it looks bad. The gophers look bad. They show the gopher so many times, and even
the warehouse was so over the top CGI that or Hangar 51, which is obviously a homage to Area 51. But it was just and again, one of the most irritating scenes in this whole entire movie for me was the first 20 minutes when he's at the Nevada atomic bomb testing site, and he goes into a lead refrigerator. And that's
that's
survives.
the biggest complaint of everyone.
I know. It's so ridiculous.
Well, that's the thing about this film is like Spielberg upped the silliness factor to where it's like Last Crusade, where it was like, remember we talked about Last Crusade, like this is the silliest one ever, and it was still heavily grounded.
It was super grounded, but at the end, it made you feel emotionally. But it was
still silly and light compared to Temple of Doom. This one feels like, at times, Spielberg was trying to cater to like 8-year-olds. Yeah, with just the shit, the refrigerator, and obviously we're complaining about things that people have complained about many times. The refrigerator scene and Shia LaBeouf swinging through the jungle with a bunch of monkeys.
With a bunch of why?
It's just
why?
I know.
What is he, Tarzan? What is this, a Disney film?
Is that at some point in this film, it feels like a video game. Where everyone is perfect. Yep. Even Marion, it's like, she can't do any wrong. She's driving off cliffs, and they're still fine. She's driving off in the tree. So everyone feels like there's no real risk.
There's
and
no
that's
stakes.
Not ever what the Indiana Jones character was about.
No,
it was about that anything could go wrong, but he was the only one that could pull it off.
Yeah, not everyone around him could also pull off these insane feats. It kind of takes away from Indiana Jones in every sense of the
It takes away everything, because in every Indiana Jones prior, at the very end, it's always just up to him.
Yeah.
He'll start off with this big group, and then it'll end with just him. In this one, he's dragging around 5-8 people the entire time.
Yeah.
And it's like and they have to give him lines, They can't be drugging around and not be doing anything, not have a goal or anything. So they have to constantly be giving these characters things to do, but it just feels tacked on just because they have to be there.
Yep.
It's, not very Indiana Jones-esque.
No.
But let's talk about the opening. So the opening, I don't hate, but it strays away from the blueprint of Indiana Jones, where it always has the opening of him getting into something that has nothing to do with the story at all. And this one, they don't do that. They start off immediately. There's no, because at first it'll be like something crazy will happen, and there'll be Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
This one, right at the start, it's immediately into the story and everything. It's like Spielberg and Lucas completely missed what people loved about Indiana Jones. Yeah. And they just forgot it.
Sadly,
they forgot. Because the intro is not, Up until the jungle, I'm fine with this film, but the intro is not nearly as exciting. And this film, for a lot of the parts, is boring. It gets boring.
Yeah, it does.
When they're in like the Mexico and they're grave digging and stuff, it's boring, man. And you're not really sure why they're down there.
Right,
Yeah.
and you're not sure who those people are. It never gets into that.
No.
The skeleton mask wearing people. It's like,
Yeah.
what is this for? Like, who are these people? Who do they work for? At least like with, The Last Crusade, we knew the Brotherhood was protecting the Holy Grail,
Yeah.
right? So that whole subplot made a lot of sense. But those characters, I felt like they were just literally thrown in and then they disappeared. They were gone forever. And we never understood or had any explanation of who those people were that were attacking them.
Well, the entire plot is like, it's just strung together to just give us another Indiana Jones, it feels like. I mean, the entire warehouse
Without
scene at the
substance
start,
or meaning.
which besides the CGI, I like the warehouse scene. I think it's a cool scene to get us back into. I remember sitting in the theater and him coming out of the trunk and his hat falling on the ground, in the shadow, and my breath being taken away and being like, oh my God, we're finally getting another after 40 years. But so I don't mind that opening or anything like that at all. But then it just gets the warehouse scene. It doesn't make any sense. What's the alien in the warehouse? Is that a separate alien from the other
the 13 that like symbiotically come together in form?
Because they talk about that was the Roswell alien.
Yeah.
But are these the exact? I mean, because
it looked like the exact same exoskeleton as.
But they don't
use
use that skeleton at all after that.
Nope.
They go and get that other one from Mexico and then start using it. So it's are all the aliens the same?
I don't know.
And they're not aliens, they're extra dimensional beings.
Yes.
So they're not, it's just George Lucas written all over it.
Yeah, it does.
It's George Lucas having way too much power instead of just being the idea guy. The guy who just randomly will throw things out. It's him just being completely cool. And Spielberg being fine with it. So it's both of their faults.
Yeah,
I mean, you can't blame it on one
definitely.
person.
It's both because this film in a lot of ways is just so baffling.
Yeah.
Like how. Because both of them are geniuses. In my opinion, both of them are obviously geniuses. But this movie just did not hit the mark in any way, shape, or form, I feel like, when it comes to Indiana Jones and, like, the heart of Indiana.
No, they stopped trying to make it like the serials from the 30s, the adventure serials that that was inspired by, that both Spielberg and Lucas both were inspired by to make film. And then they tried to make this one like a ripoff of a 50s B science fiction film, but it doesn't feel like that either.
Right.
It feels like it's an Indiana Jones film with a ton of sci-fi just added into it. It doesn't feel like one or the other. And that's the problem with me, is it did not feel like it knew where it wanted to go. I mean, if it wanted to be a 90s B satire of a 90s or of a 50s B sci-fi film, the entire thing probably would have been shot in a lab.
Yeah.
So I wish they would have went one way or the other with it instead of just a little bit of both.
Yeah. I got to say, I absolutely hated the car action scenes, too. They were just so overly CGI. You know, when they're fighting on the car and then Shia LaBeouf is standing in between both of them.
The fencing, and they
they're
like
fighting, and I'm just like, what in the hell is
going on? And then they dropped
here?
a little bit earlier that he was a fencer just because they had to. It's
to just sprinkle that in there, and I was like,
but it's so on the nose and stupid. That's not even, again, it's
not even
not
believable.
Spielberg, because it's not even good
writing.
I keep going back to like the Ark of the Covenant in the first one, when it's like we first get like Marion, we're introduced to her and she's drinking against the other, like the Nepal guy
scene.
or whatever. Yeah. But that scene was to show us later on when she's drinking against the other, the guy that they're working against that's also following the Ark. I mean, that's the kind of good writing that you expect out of Indiana Jones. Not Shia LaBeouf to say at one scene, oh yeah, and I was also a fencer at one point.
You're like, okay.
And then knowing as soon as he said that at some point he would be fencing.
Yeah.
So that's not good writing.
No.
I mean,
Not
unfortunately,
at all.
it's not. It doesn't make any sense. Although one of my favorite scenes is probably the 50s diner scene. Again, I like the first 20 minutes of this film, besides the horrible CGI and weird color saturation. But I love when Mutt is first introduced to Indy. I love when they go to the 50s diner. It looks straight out of fucking 1950s. It's like a Rockwell painting.
And it's so funny.
And all the
get that greaser.
Yeah,
they
exactly.
start fighting, and I like the music.
and the little things between Indy and Mutt, obviously, where he kind of becomes like a father figure to him almost immediately without even knowing that he's a father.
Yeah.
But like the little things of Mutt stealing a beer and then Indy putting the beer back. I love
Well, and then
those
being
things.
like, hey, you should quit being so hard on your kid. He didn't have to finish school, and then he finds out it's his kid, and he's yelling at him.
Those are the
Like, those are
character
good
things
moments.
that people love about Indiana Jones.
Yes,
Those
and
small-
obviously the one snake joke as well.
Yeah.
You know, with the rope. Like that,
which I think
you
he
know?
would have just tore that snake in
I
half.
think so. Pulling that hard.
They're
yeah.
not. I mean, they're not indestructible.
Poor snake.
I know that thing was 3 feet longer
Oh,
than it.
God.
But yeah, stuff like that. But I hate that the quicksand scene. I hate that scene because that scene is 100% just put in there just for a reason for Marion to tell Indy that Mutt is the kid.
Yeah, because it doesn't move along the plot, and
At
there's
all.
no consequences
Nope.
from the KGB when they do find him again. Like, they should have shot the kid. They should have
Yeah.
shot Mutt or shot.
It was 100% just there, and like they just couldn't figure out a better way to do it to where like, all right, we just got to have him, and then it's an emergency where she thinks she's dying, so she's got to tell him everything. I can't stand that scene. It's one of those.
add-ins.
Yeah, where it's like, I mean, all we talk about is scenes that don't need to be there. You know, every single scene should just move the plot forward, and it does. And then they get mad when Ox, another character, who's John Hurt, who's fucking fantastic, who's another person on paper you think this movie is gonna be amazing, but they tell him to go get help, and then when he brings back the KGB, they're mad at him. They're in the middle of the jungle,
Right. Who are you going to go? Who are you going to go and get? Can't just dial up 911. They ain't going to bring an
And
ambulance
they go, thanks,
out there.
Ox. What the fuck do you think he was
He
gonna
says,
do?
help.
Yeah, he goes, help.
Like, that's the only help around.
It's so dumb. And then it just amazing. And then because earlier on because you would think he wouldn't ever try to go, but earlier on during the nuke scene, he's running after the Russians trying to get them to help. So I don't understand that.
Do you think Harrison Ford is partly to blame for this film in the way that it was written, the way that it was shot and everything? Because in 2006, he said, if this film is not made by 2008, you might as well just throw it away. And that is what got Steven Spielberg to go and try to find a script immediately so they can make this film.
Well, yeah, but I mean, it's not like they weren't thinking about it for 30 years.
Beforehand.
It's not like they were completely. I mean, Lucas had an idea. He had an idea early on when they were doing the Young Indiana, the Chronicles of Young Indiana.
Right.
So that he knew. He had a million different
Wasn't that
ideas.
like a TV show or something?
Yeah, I used to have all the VHSs for that too.
Really? I've never seen any of them.
Harrison Ford is in one episode.
No way.
He's in an episode. Yeah, he's
Obviously
in one
as
episode.
Indy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
He's a narrator or something, and that's
That's cool.
him being in that episode is what gave George Lucas the idea that we can do an Indiana Jones that you're older. That's the episode that he gave it because he saw Harrison in the shit. You know, he's like, oh my god, there's a movie there still.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's worth watching. It's not
Yeah,
perfect,
yeah.
but George Lucas is the producer on that, on the Young Indy, so it's not bad. But yeah, that's what kind of got him into it. So no, I don't think it's Harrison Ford to blame. I mean, and Steven Spielberg, his kids were also asking him when they were going to make another Indiana Jones. So
Well, he even put his daughter in this film. You know, Steven Spielberg's daughter was the
I
one
do
who
know.
punched Mutt.
Who's it's his daughter and
Kate, what's her name? Capshaw?
Kate Capshaw,
Capshaw,
from Temple of Doom. Yeah,
Yep. Their
Which is
daughter.
funny, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of a nice homage. I
It would have
suppose.
been funny if she screamed or something like that. I think they should have done that.
It would have been a little too on
She's the one
nose.
that punches Shia.
She does. Yep.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf. Yeah, I wish she would have him scream. Not blonde, surprisingly.
Yeah, not blonde.
Maybe her mom's not natural blonde though. I don't know.
One other thing, too. You know, Harrison Ford kept in tremendous shape all the way up until 2008. They took his original costume measurements for his outfits and stuff for the show, or for this film, rather, fit into them verbatim from what they were back in 1989 for The Last Crusade.
He's always been in really good shape. Yeah. Well, you know, it's probably good for him because he had to gain weight. He gained a bunch of muscle for Temple of Doom. So then he probably lost that weight. And now he's gaining the old man pounds
There
back.
it is.
But yeah, he's still rearing, ready to go.
And what do you think about Henry Jones Sr. being deceased in this?
Well, yeah, they couldn't.
Bring back Sean Connery. They did ask him. They
Yeah.
did ask him for a cameo. He turned it down. He said he much prefers retirement.
Yeah, and
so.
he's someone that's kind of been blacklisted by Hollywood as well.
Well,
so,
yeah, he may have made some very controversial remarks.
So I'm sure it wasn't like a please be in this
yeah.
film. I'm sure it wasn't, but yeah, he's made some controversial. But yeah, no, I'm fine with that. And the Marcus and that's the thing is a lot of people died. You know, it's been a long time.
Yeah,
so
it
Marcus wasn't there either. They showed his picture quickly.
Yeah.
And Henry Jones, he passed away.
They
as
asked
well.
for Salah to have a small cameo in the audience, but he declined that as well.
He said
too.
no. Yeah.
He said, if I'm not part of the adventure, I don't want to go. To hell with you.
I don't want to see him just in the background and being like,
Right,
well,
at the audience
he's
at the end, at the
an
wedding.
awesome character. Why would you not have him in the film all the time? So, and the big guy, what's his name, John Roach, who was supposed to be in all of them. The guy who plays Brownface, and he was supposed to be in all of them, but
Didn't he die?
He died in 2004 before he
could. But you know they would have put him in this.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. He was in Last Crusade, but they cut his part.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean it's a shame. It's been a while though.
It has been.
It's been a long time since they made another one, and
Are you excited for the 5th, knowing what the 4th was? Do you think they do a better job with Indiana Jones 5, or is it more of the same for 4?
Well, should we talk about Indiana Jones 5?
I think it's an appropriate time.
I think we should get into it. So we know. So let's go back in 1979. George Lucas, Steven Spielberg signed a 5-film Indiana Jones deal. So no matter what, they had to make 5 films.
Mm-hmm.
So they made the first 3, obviously, and then George Lucas said, "I don't have any more ideas."
He's like, I'm
done.
fresh out.
But they allowed him to be the producer on Young Indiana Jones. So they said, "Okay, you're kind of good. You don't got to do the deal." So there was always a plan for 5 films, which I thought was interesting because it seemed like it was always a 3. So no matter what, so I think this 5th one will for sure be the last one.
Yeah.
But we got to talk about it. Spielberg is not directing.
No, he's not.
He's the first one where he's not directing. But the director who's replaced him is someone that I have the utmost confidence. James Mangold. Do you know who James Mangold is?
No.
He's directed recently some great fucking films. But his most recent is Ford vs. Ferrari.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But he's known for my favorite of his films, Logan. Wolverine.
Oh, that Logan. I was thinking Logan Lucky. I have not seen Logan Lucky yet. So I was like...
I wouldn't call it just Logan, just assuming you would.
Right, yeah. But yeah, no, Logan was fantastic. That was a great Marvel film. Great
Absolutely.
rated
So
R.
James Mangold is more than fucking capable. I have more hopes in James Mangold taking this into the right direction than I would Spielberg directing it. So
Wow.
because I've seen what Spielberg has done, and I've seen that that maybe he's lost the touch when it comes to these kind of fantasy-esque films.
Yeah.
But I have a ton of confidence in it. That's a film that was supposed to be scheduled to start shooting a while ago, but had to get moved back because of COVID. But now I think they're saying it's ready to go.
Is
Ready
it?
to start filming.
Okay.
They have a story and everything. John Williams is coming back. George Lucas, executive producer. Spielberg, I think, is producing or maybe executive producing also.
Yeah.
But James Mangold, is for sure directing.
So I know Harrison Ford came out on Valentine's Day this year, and this is what he had to say about it. And quote, "Well, I'm not going to share the story with you because that doesn't seem like a good idea, but we'll see new developments in his life, his relationship, and we'll see part of his history resolved. It's a very good script. I'm looking forward to it." So he says it's a good script.
We know Mutt Williams, Shia LaBeouf will not be in it because Shia LaBeouf was famously fired from the franchise, if you don't remember, 2008.
Yep.
When he came out and essentially talked shit about the film. It's
not the smartest move.
I actually don't blame Shia LaBeouf, and it kind of started him off on this crazy fucking route that I mean, obviously, he had problems with this.
He did.
But this really hurt him because, and if you go back, I remember when this happened too, because they kicked him off all press for it.
Yeah.
Because during the press, he pretty much said, because the film was getting bad reviews, he said the film was bad, but he said, I take the blame. He said, it's an actor's job to bring those roles to life. He said, it's on me. He's like, I don't blame Spielberg or anyone. But Spielberg lost it. Spielberg says at some point, I mean, you got to sell cars.
Yeah.
He said, just lie and just sell tickets. And
But it's not like this film didn't make a shit ton of money. I mean, the budget was $150 million.
it did, but it got bad rap, and a lot of people were blaming Shia and shit like that. But yeah, and Harrison Ford pretty much came out and told Shia LaBeouf to shut the fuck up. Or he did say that. And that, I think that left a really, which is so shitty to me. I mean, it's, Shia LaBeouf, for one, he came out and he put the blame on himself, which he's not even the main guy for one. It's not.
And that's not
an easy thing and I believe as an actor, you can only do so much with the role. You can't take a role and just make it fantastic because you're a fantastic actor.
Well, dude, there's so many more elements to filmmaking than just a performance.
Yeah, and it's got to have been so bad for him to come out and say that, and then everyone that he worked on turned on him. Because he talks about it, Spielberg was his hero. He said it was when he got the role, because this is Transformers Shia LaBeouf.
Yep.
You know, this is when he was getting really mainstream stuff, but he wasn't, as serious actor.
When I think anyone who loves cinema, who loves film, Steven Spielberg is like, you hold him in such high regard that you would look up to him.
Yeah, but for Spielberg to say that to him and for Harrison Ford to say that, I think it's shitty, He didn't blame anyone, and then they just turned on him. They said, and they kicked him from the franchise immediately. Said he would never be, and then I think Spielberg said he would never work with him again.
Wow.
Yeah, so that fucked Shia LaBeouf up.
Yeah.
So that's just another shitty part of this already shitty film where Shia LaBeouf ruined his career with. He didn't ruin his career, but he ruined his career with Spielberg. For this movie.
Yeah.
Of all the fucking films that were in it. So I've always had bad taste in my mouth about this film because of that. And it's shitty for Harrison Ford to come do that. I get it's a business, but these guys are artists. I'm 100% for letting them say anything they want if they want to talk about the film.
Mm-hmm.
And you have 100%
have the right to
and you have 100% the
that.
right to kick him off the fucking press tour and say we just can't have you on it if you're gonna do it. But tell him to shut the fuck up and lie and say, oh, this film's fucking fantastic and I loved shooting it and I love swinging around with CGI monkeys and it was the greatest fucking time. I can't stand that even for Spielberg to say it. Yeah, sell cars. For one, their actors aren't in the business to sell cars.
No, they're not.
They're in the business
to perform.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that gets into the whole press thing, anyways.
It does.
And I don't know. It's a whole argument, but this was not my favorite.
No,
it was not my favorite Indiana Jones.
But what I will say is, coming in 2021, it will mark the 40th anniversary of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Crazy.
So, if they can hurry up with this film, they might be able to get a December 2021 release date.
That would be nice.
That'd be really nice to have a 40-year anniversary.
Harrison Ford's so old by this time.
They haven't even started filming this, have they?
No, he's so old. And what's crazy is it's lucky for Indiana Jones, but the character's actually younger in the story than he is in real life. He's like 60 something at this point.
Yeah, Harrison Ford is 78 years old right now.
He's so damn old.
Sean Connery's almost 90. He's 89.
Oh, I know that. You know, crazy enough, I saw a picture of him not pretty recently. Sean Connery. He looks pretty good.
That's him right there.
Yeah, he looks pretty good.
That's not bad for 90. Jeez.
Yeah. Well, he's just fucking drinking.
Yeah.
Hitting women. doing what he's got to do.
Oh, man.
To survive.
Yeah.
But that's all I got for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
As do I.
I think it's my least favorite. I think it makes Temple of Doom, which we said was our least favorite of the original trilogy, look like a mess. At least they were willing to take risk with Temple of Doom.
Yes.
Where they weren't doing that at all.
No.
That's all I got.
That's all I have for Kingdom of the Crystal Skull 2. If you guys are watching on YouTube, be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. If you're listening in audio format, you can check out our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. Social media pages, Twitter, Seen It Podcast. Cash is on Twitter. That's Just Cash. Instagram, Have You Seen It? Facebook, Have You Seen a Podcast? Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause, and until next time.
Bye.